My name is Eric Rader, and I work with the Salvation Army, and I oversee our e-commerce program as the director of e-commerce. What I do and my team does is we identify what some of these nicer selling items are, and we figure out what the market is by researching it. And there's tons of data available everywhere now. Some places, of course, like WorthPoint, give you the tools in order to find that data a lot more easily than you've ever really been able to in the past. One day there was an estate sale that happened here in Atlanta, and I remember there was a table at this estate sale and it was filled with belt buckles. As I'm looking at it, this guy walks up to me, he's like, "Oh, you like belt buckles?" I'm like, "Oh, no, I think they're interesting. I know that there's some that are pretty valuable." He's got his phone, I've got my phone, I'm looking stuff up, and he's like, "Oh, have you ever heard of WorthPoint?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I have actually." I was like, "I come across it all the time in my work." He's like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I was like, "Oh, I work for the Salvation Army." I was like, his donations come in. I kind of told him the story there. And he's like, "I'm the founder of WorthPoint." He's like, that's the thing that I came up with, and that's kind of what we do is value things. And I'm like, "Really? Are you joking? Seriously?" And he's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Wow, that's really cool." In the first, I would say, really the first 3 months, we were probably doing maybe $20,000 a year just in artwork. And now, I would say easily we've probably exceeded $500,000 in artwork since we started with WorthPoint. And now that we've been with WorthPoint a couple of years, the other thing that's been great is just the connections that you can get, like the online auctions that work with them, that sort of thing. I think that the tools that I would imagine that we use probably the most, and I'm not even really necessarily going to count the ability to look up something and figure out what the value is, because that's a pretty obvious tool. But the resource library on WorthPoint it's been unbelievable for us. In the resource library on WorthPoint, which we use a ton of, there's like a Maker's Mark library where you can see like Maker's Marks and stuff like that. And it's completely changed everything that we do. Another tool that we use a lot of with WorthPoint is their image recognition software. That's been super helpful. No, I would say that WorthPoint is tremendously valuable to us, and we're a nonprofit, and nonprofits typically, we don't have a lot of money to do a lot of things. But we understand that knowledge is power. We understand that the things that we find, there's no way possible that we're ever going to know everything that is out there. And to be able to have a tool like WorthPoint so that we can look it up and to be able to figure out exactly what it is so that we can figure out the avenue to actually, put this item in front of someone to maximize how much that we can make for our programs. That's absolutely essential. It's everything that we do. We take a little bit of money and we try to make it into a lot of money to help as many people as we can. And things like WorthPoint allow us to do that. And we could scour the internet for hours and hours and hours, but most of the people that are doing this on a daily basis, it's only one person. It's one person that's looking for stuff. To be able to quickly figure out what it is and to move on to that next thing, that's worth every penny that we spend on WorthPoint on a daily, yearly basis. So it's an incredible tool. It saves us time, it makes us money, and helps us do more good for more people.